Here's a SQL interview tip that you actually do not want to use. I saw this tip on LinkedIn this morning, and it's a really bad idea and a really bad practice that you need to be aware of. The other call here is just because someone's popular on social media or you're seeing a tip on the internet does not mean that it's the best practice. First, here's the SQL code that they were showing. This is a pretty simple piece of SQL code. We have an aggregate function, and then we have this group by clause. When we look more specifically at the group by clause, we can see that there's a case statement being listed, and this was the tip that was being provided. The original poster suggested that when you use this case statement inside your group by clause, you'll be showing off your creative thinking and you'll be showing off how smart you are to an interviewer. But in reality, you won't, and it's actually going to do the exact opposite. There's a few big reasons for this, and the first one is we're duplicating code. In any programming language, you never want to duplicate your logic because you're duplicating code, which could increase the chance of bugs, or it will make the code harder to read. Also, there's better options. Instead of putting a case statement in the group by clause, you could easily just say group by one to grab the first field. The other option in most databases is to take the field alias from that case statement and just group by that. And even if you don't want to use those things, you can even put the case statement without the aggregate function into a temp table or CTE and then aggregate later. But in an interview, if this case statement was being dropped into the group by clause, a good interviewer is likely going to ask why you're doing that. As a candidate, if you can't think of a better way to do this, this is demonstrating that you don't have the fundamental knowledge around SQL. But worse yet, if the candidate doubles down thinking that this is a good idea, this is really going to be bad for the candidate. Not only would that demonstrate that the candidate doesn't understand SQL, but it's also demonstrating that the candidate doesn't even recognize that duplicating code probably doesn't feel right even if they don't know the best solution. So if you really want to impress your interviewer, you have to truly understand SQL and the trade-offs between doing things. And the second call out here is just because you heard something on the internet or from somebody that's popular on social media, it doesn't mean that that's actually what you need to be doing in the real world.